All right, what category you want to do? What are you feeling?
I don't even know. I feel like I have so much information in my head, but I have a hard time getting it. Like, once I look at the information, I don't know. I forget it.
So let's just go over the whole kit and caboodle, huh?
Sure.
Let's just do a master exam, a mixture of everything, of all the goods. What do you think?
Okay.
All right, let's go. What do you think? So read it, read it out loud, and then we'll go through it. Okay?
Okay. Which of the following would not be considered an impertinence?
So you got trade fixture, a swimming pool, trees, or an easement.
Trade fixture?
Okay, well, what does an appurtenant mean?
It's attached to the land?
Okay, good. It runs with the land. Excellent. So you know the answer. I just want you to sound a little more confident when you say it. Okay? So do trees go with the land?
Yeah.
Good. A swimming pool, or can you like remove the swimming pool? Be like, I'll sell you a house, I'm taking the swimming pool with me.
No.
Good. So that's going to be appurtenant. All right. Easement?
No.
Okay. What's a trade fixture?
That's like if you put in shelves for your business or something that has to do with your business that you built that you can take with you when you leave.
Right. So does that go with the land?
No.
So what's the answer?
Trade fixture.
Let's see. Boom! You're on a roll. Okay.
Okay.
So good. So right off the bat, with that one, we'll see if it's true for the rest of them. You sound like you know what you're talking about on that one, but it just doesn't sound confident. So I want you to have a little more like, this is the answer. Boom. And the reason is because I don't want you second guessing yourself.
Okay.
Because second guessing yourself could be disastrous. It hurts a lot of people. Okay, what do you think here? So read this one out loud.
Which method would an appraiser most likely use to appraise a newly built 1-year-old apartment building?
Okay. What are the options?
Market approach, cost approach, income approach, and capitalization approach.
Okay, what do you think the answer is?
I know that income and capitalization. I feel like income and capitalization aren't the answer.
Can you say they're not the answer instead of aren't the answer? That's because you're right. So what do you think?
Either market or cost.
Okay. Well, what's the market approach?
You compare the property to other properties.
Good. So really, there's no reference to the age because you compare old properties to old properties, right?
Yeah.
So it's not relevant. What's the cost approach?
The cost to build the building.
Good. So when you're building the building, it's new, correct? You just said you built the building, right? So what's the answer?
Cost, and that's just simply because it's new.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff is much simpler than people think. The cost approach is that simple. How much do you cost to build it brand new?
Okay.
Okay. Like you said, income and capitalization have to do with much more business practices, how much money it's making, things of that nature. And it doesn't reference that at all, which is why you said can't be income or capitalization approach, correct?
Yeah. So if it said something about rent, then you would choose a different one.
Yeah, well, if it started, you'd have to read the complete question, but that would be a red flag for you. If it started talking about, how much money it's bringing in, then yes, that's a different deal.
Okay.
Okay. Here's a question. Which approach are you going to use as a real estate agent?
Market.
Good. Excellent. Now, obviously, you can use any of them. I should have rephrased that. Which one you're most likely going to use? And you got it right, market approach. Okay, read this one.
If an appraiser is appraising a special purpose property, he would probably use the land residual approach, cost approach, income approach, market data approach. Um,
Okay, if an appraiser appraised special purpose property, he would probably use the. Okay, first question. What's a special purpose property?
I would say it's something that it's not an apartment, it's not a house, it's something you don't see a lot of.
Okay, give me an example.
Mm, I'm guessing a government building?
That's an example. Good. So, like
Okay.
libraries, schools, police stations, things of that nature.
Okay.
Okay. So, can you do comparisons for a library?
Not really.
No. Do libraries have income?
No.
So, which of these two do you think will best fit?
Cost approach.
Boom, the one we went over before. Good. Excellent.
Where in a standard narrative appraisal report would one likely find the type of value being estimated? The statement of purpose?
Good. And that's just one of those you just got to know. There's no fun little examples for that one.
One of the main benefits of sale-leaseback transaction would be
What do you think? You could get the deposit back with no objection. The ability of the seller to deduct all future rent payment as a business expenditure. The option to lease the property back after the termination of lease. The ability to maintain the book value of the new buyer. What do you think?
If it's a leaseback, you own the building and then you sold it and you're paying rent to stay in it.
Excellent. Good.
So definitely not the first option. Or the last option. The ability of the seller to deduct all his future rent payments.
Ready? You excited? Nice. So far, you're getting 100%.
Now, why would it be in a business expenditure?
Okay, so think of it this way. When you have a building, okay, you're selling shoes, okay, but you don't own the building, you're renting it, you could deduct that rent. The same as if I go visit you to do business, like we want to do a business deal together, but I need to get a hotel to visit you because you live far away from me. I could deduct the expense of that hotel because I'm visiting you in order to do business.
Okay.
All right. So they sell it, okay, but now they're tenants. But they could deduct everything as a tenant.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who won't buy stuff; they'd rather rent for that reason. And everybody has their own personal financial situation, but they like the idea that they could deduct the amount of rent from their taxes.
Okay.
All right.
Which of the following is created when possession and title do not occur at the same time? I know it's not a state at sufferance
Right.
or writ of execution, but I don't think I've seen a term for what that is yet.
Okay. Have you heard of interim occupancy agreement?
No.
Okay. What does the word interim mean? Just think of the English language.
Like a determined period of time?
Well, I'm thinking it means a time in between two actions.
Okay.
Like we go to dinner, I'm there early, you're late. In the interim, I'm going to have a drink at the bar.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So take this example. I sell you my house. Okay. In the interim, before the property is closed, you want to live there. All right?
Okay.
So you could actually move in before it closes if we file an interim occupancy agreement. I mean, is it a good idea? Generally, no. To let people move in before a property closes. But like I said, everybody has their own circumstances, and there's agreements to form if that's the best interest of the two parties. And that agreement's called the interim occupancy agreement.
Okay.
All right? Okay. Ready, next one?
Certain charges are prohibited by Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act as appropriate. Buyer or seller may legally be charged for all of the following except
What do you think? Just take a stab at it.
the preparation of loan documents.
Okay, it's about time you got one wrong, right? You got all these other ones right. Okay, in selling a house, certain charges are prohibited by the Real Estate Selling Procedures Act. As appropriate, buyer or seller may legally be charged for all the following except for disclosure statements.
Okay.
Disclosure statements basically say all the different things that are involved in the loan.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think so, yeah.
If you're charging me for a service, okay, and I ask you, what does that service entail? And you say, oh, you want to know that? Well, that's an extra fee. Does that sound fair?
I guess not.
Well, what do you do for a living now?
I'm a property manager, so I do.
Wait, don't tell me. You're going to tell me, before you tell me anything, you say, if you want me to continue this sentence, it's an extra fee.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
I get your point now. Yeah.
Right. And you see, I stopped, said, okay, I'm a property manager, so hold on. There's a fee involved here. Okay. That you can't do that. That's essentially what's happening with these disclosure statements.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can't charge for that, disclosing everything, that all the fees are involved and whatnot. It's like, oh, you want to know what you're going to be charged? Well, there's a charge for that.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And it kind of made the point when I said, as you started to explain what you do, I said, hold on, there's a fee there for that.
And those disclosure statement, is that for a loan?
Yes, they're talking about the loan specifically here.
Okay. An investor paid $300,000 for an apartment building, making $75,000 cash down payment. 1 year later, the property increased 10% in value. This resulted in $30,000 or 40% gain on the $75,000 equity. This is an example of appreciation.
Okay, so that's leverage. Whenever they talk about borrowing, they're talking about leverage. Okay? So the investor paid $300,000 for apartment building, making a $75,000 cash down payment. 1 year later, the property increased 10% value. So he borrowed the other money. He didn't actually lay down $300,000. He laid down $75,000.
Okay.
Okay? Does that make sense?
I guess I always just viewed leverage as if you borrowed too much and you didn't have any of your own.
You're overthinking it. Leverage is simply
Okay.
borrowing, using other people's money.
Okay.
That's all it means.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. I think of it negative and you're saying it's positive.
It's not positive or negative. It's using other people's money.
Okay.
I mean, that could result in a positive or negative thing.
Okay. When a real estate licensee negotiates a sale of a mobile home in California, written notice of the transfer must be provided to the Department of Housing and Community Development within 10 business days.
Okay, so just so you know, they always function in calendar days. Everything with
Okay.
your real estate exams, calendar days. There's no, because when you look at a calendar, they say 32 days. Do you start counting the weekends?
No.
If I say this deal will be closed in 24 days, do you say, okay, don't count Saturday and Sunday, or do you count Saturday and Sunday?
Okay, so it's never calendar.
Never business days.
I mean, never business.
I
Always.
mean, I don't want to say never because there's exceptions, like I say in a lot of my videos. But generally speaking, we talk in calendar days.
Okay.
Like I said, if I tell you I'm going to close this, I'm going to close this house in 30 days. Are you thinking in a month, or are you thinking in a month and a half?
Okay.
You're thinking in a month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a month and a half if I didn't include the weekends.
Okay. In the field of real estate, a prepayment penalty is sometimes
I think charged the buyer when he applies for a loan, required from a trustor, makes advance payments on his home loan, written to a trustee for protection of the trustor, collected from a borrower who is late in his payments on his home loan. What do you think?
required from a trustor who makes advance payments on his home loan.
Okay, here we go. Boom. And this is tricky because you got to remember trustor and borrower, it's the same person.
Okay.
So that could throw people off.
Yeah.
So basically, the buyer, the trustor, and the borrower can all be the same person.
Yeah.
Okay, but you said I'm not going to worry about that. What I'm worried about is this word, advance payments.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah. A deed of reconveyance must be executed by the beneficiary.
Okay, let's review this. Okay, so we have our deed of trustee. Talk to me about the trustee situation. What's going on with that?
The trustee, there's a trustor who borrows from the beneficiary, the bank, and the trustee is the person in the middle.
Why does the trustor have that OR tagged to its name? What are they giving? Because OR gives, right?
Yeah, they're giving the loan payment or whatever it may be.
Nope. They're
No.
giving legal title.
They're giving what?
Legal title.
Okay, legal title.
Who are they giving it to? The legal title means the right to sell. Who are they giving it to?
To the trustee.
Good. Why? I don't know why. I just know he has an EE at the end of his name, and I know that means receive, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so the trustor gives legal title to the trustee, okay? Which is the right to sell the property. The
Yeah.
trustor makes all his payments to the beneficiary, okay, on time, and the loan's done. Everything's done, okay? What does the beneficiary do at that time?
They're done with the loan, so
Uh-huh.
or whatever it is. They tell the I thought they told the trustor, but maybe they tell the trustee.
Excellent. Good.
Okay.
What they do is they sign something called a request for reconveyance.
Okay.
Okay? And then the trustee receives that request and then issues you, the trustor, a reconveyance deed.
Okay, that's probably what I got confused.
Right. You've got to remember the trustee has the right to sell it. They also have the right to give it back.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's stop for a moment and go over some of these questions you got wrong. Do you want to take another stab at them?
Okay.
Okay, so let's go on these questions on the right and do again these ones you got wrong. To make sure you've got them before you move on.
In selling a house, certain charges are prohibited by the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. As appropriate, buyer or seller may legally be charged for all the following except, and that was disclosure settlement statements.
Good. And that's all for our list. Excellent.
An investor paid $300,000 for an apartment building, making a $75,000 cash down payment. 1 year later, the property increased 10% in value. This resulted in a $30,000 or 40% gain on the $75,000 equity. This is an example of leverage.
Good.
When a real estate licensee negotiates a sale of a mobile home in California, written notice of the transfer must be provided to the Department of Housing and Community Development within 10 calendar days.
Good.
A deed of reconveyance must be executed by the trustee.
Excellent. Good. Okay, so now we cleared that list of ones you got wrong.
Harry Glasscock has been burning leaves on his front lawn. His neighbors have filed a lawsuit and have received a court order ordering Mr. Glasscock to stop burning the leaves. The court order would be called,
What do you think?
I feel like, an injunction.
I feel like you're right. Why were you unsure?
I guess because the other ones sound, I guess I don't know that, I don't remember them too well, so I feel like they could be an option.
Okay, so an injunction is a court order stop. And in this situation, he wants his neighbor to stop doing something. Okay? And that's what an injunction does. It asks somebody to stop a certain action.
Okay.
All right?
All right. On December 29th, 1987, Rambo offered to buy Alicia's home. The offer was accepted and escrow opened. Alicia had purchased the home in 1984 using the FHA loan to finance it, which she has still been making payments on. A preliminary report, title report dated December 29, 1987 will... Preliminary title report.
So here's the thing. Basically, this is a long question with a lot of irrelevant information.
Okay.
All it's really saying is, what does a preliminary title report do?
Show the particulars of a deed of trust with Alicia as a trustor.
Excellent. Good. So title report, what does a title report do?
I feel like it says who has title in the property.
Right. So that's all it is. It says a preliminary title report will show who owns it. And remember, this is Alicia's property. So there's a whole lot of irrelevant information here in this question. You got to be careful for those on your exam.
Okay.
Tricky one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The most accurate determination of the age of a house can be made by inspecting the physical condition of the house.
Okay, the most accurate determination of the age of the house can be made by the tax assessor's records. Okay, because the physical condition, it may be a new house, but just been taken care of horribly or built horribly.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Architectural style obviously has no relevance.
Yeah.
Okay, and recording a subdivision map has more to do with land than the house. So even if you're not sure and you may not agree with the answer, the other ones are certainly not the answer.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess I just thought the tax assessor, I guess I thought they only assessed how much tax you owe, not necessarily the condition. But I guess
Right,
that's the same
but
thing.
they're not asking about the condition. They're asking about the age.
Okay.
And the moment a property transfers, the tax assessor assesses the value. So if I buy your property, immediately the tax assessor assesses the value on that day.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. The term depreciation refers to the loss in value in real estate from any cause.
Good.
Which of the following is an example of a less than freehold estate? A leasehold estate?
Excellent. Good. Less than freehold lease. Sounds like lease. All right. The rest of these are all type of freehold estates. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Fee simple estate, estate in severalty, that actually is a totally different topic. That has to do with sole ownership. Okay? And a fee simple determinable estate. So excellent.
According to generally accepted practices, an escrow is authorized to call for funding of buyer's loan.
Good. Because remember, escrow is a neutral party, correct?
Uh-huh.
So they're not giving advice. They can't change the loan, and they can't authorize things to be done. Calling for funding the buyer's loan is just asking you to complete something that the other parties have already agreed upon.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they're just going off the documents they were given in that situation.
Okay.
Okay, they're not telling you when to get the loan, how much to get the loan, or anything like that. They're just saying, hey, you guys said this would be done on, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Get it done.
Millie wanted to buy a house. The seller said that in order to purchase the property, Millie must use her brother, who is a fully qualified lender, at which time the broker in the transaction told the seller that the only way that Millie is buying this home is if she uses her in-house lender. Millie voiced her opinion and said, I am using my lender and that is fine. Under these circumstances, which is true? Millie can require her lender because she is the buyer.
Excellent. Good. So the gist of this whole thing is Millie wants her buyer, or excuse me, Millie wants her lender.
Uh-huh.
The agent can't force you to use the lender they want. At the end of the day, Millie's paying for this loan.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. A charge imposed against real property to provide security for the performance of some type of act, usually to provide incentive for or satisfy a payment, is to provide security. That would be a mortgage? Mortgage? Oh.
Nope, that would be a lien. So let's read it. It says a charge imposed against real property to provide security for the performance of some type of act. So that's keeping it very vague and general. This is a very fancy way to say you owe money.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Okay.
Like, it doesn't say anything necessarily about a loan. So this could reference a mechanic's lien or anything of that nature too. Now, is a loan a lien? Absolutely. Like a mortgage or a deed or something like that. All right?
Okay. The open-end clause in mortgage would benefit the borrower the most if he borrowed additional money.
Boom. It's all it means. The option to add on to the loan. Excellent.
Jane, a real estate salesperson, advertised in the newspaper that anyone who purchased a home through her would receive a free color television. Such action is legal provided full disclosure is made to all interested parties.
Excellent. Good. Whenever you're not sure, disclose, disclose, disclose. Good. Now, there's a key thing here I want you to notice. You can't give money to people for getting you business. I mean, soliciting business is a licensed activity, right?
Okay.
And people make this mistake all the time. They say, what's going on here? You know, you can't pay people for business. Well, here's the difference. She's given this TV to the buyer, to her client. So the person purchased a home. In other words, you buy a home through me, I'll kick in a TV for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not saying if you find somebody else to buy a home from me, I will give you a TV.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, in this situation as well, you can't say, if you buy a home from me, I'll give you a TV, but you, not so much. You got to be fair.
Okay. The real estate commissioner would prohibit which of the following mortgage broker statement advertisements.
What do you think?
I feel like they're all kind of terrible.
No, this is just an ad. This is just people saying this is what we
Yeah.
got. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. There's nothing wrong with this one. We loan upon verification of equity, saying, hey, after we verify everything, we'll make you a loan. Okay.
Okay.
And if this is what they do, this is what they do. They loan up to verified market value. So what's the answer?
From what you're saying, call 1-800 for a loan.
Do you know why?
Well, I feel like it's the most vague one.
Actually, it's the most almost inappropriately direct. It says if you call that number, you get a loan.
Okay.
I mean, and these ones say you need to verify things. You need to verify things. Okay? This says it's available. It doesn't mean it's giving it to you.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So all these have kind of qualifiers.
Yeah.
This is what we have available. This is upon verification. This is after we've verified the value. This just says call the number and you're getting it.
Okay.
And is that real?
No.
No, lenders can't do that.
When a real estate agent acts as a dual agent for both the buyer and the seller in a 1031 exchange and does not disclose his dual agency to both parties, he may be disciplined by the real estate commissioner.
Okay, provide grounds for either party to rescind the purchase agreement, be prevented from receiving any commission, and be disciplined by the real estate commissioner.
Okay.
Okay? So that's like a whole lot of everything there.
Yeah.
Okay, here. I don't like the way that's, I'm going to fix that later. Okay, but you understand what it's saying? It's basically all the other options are correct. Basically,
Okay.
everything can happen to you.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah. If two parties want to create an enforceable broker-principal relationship concerning a right, title, or interest in real property, the most essential element to do so would be an employment contract.
Good. Excellent. All right, what's a listing contract?
It's a bilateral employment contract.
What are you being employed to do?
You're promising that you're gonna try to find a ready and able buyer for your property.
Excellent. You're not being hired to sell the house. You're being hired to find a ready, willing, able buyer, and you are the broker.
Uh-huh.
Excellent. Good.
Compliance with agency relationship law enacted as part of the Civil Code would be required in which of the following transaction? A broker who negotiates a lease for a period of longer than 1 year and 1 year and a half of a duplex.
Excellent. Good. Okay. So you understand a lease under a year doesn't need a contract.
Uh-huh.
Okay, good.
In the absence of court approval, which of the following acts may legally be taken by a minor or incompetent person? Acquire real property through gift or inheritance.
Excellent. You ever heard of the Olsen twins?
Yes.
They were like these super rich kids and whatnot.
Yeah.
They had real estate before they were 18.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh. The most accurate determination of the age of a house can be made by inspecting the tax assessor's records. A charge imposed against real property to provide security for the performance of some type of act, usually to provide incentive for or satisfy a payment, is a lien. estate agent acts as a dual agent for both the buyer and the seller in a 1031 exchange and does not disclose his dual agency to both parties. He may provide grounds for either party to rescind the purchase agreement, be prevented from receiving any commission, be disciplined by the real estate commissioner. I think that's it. Thank you.
All right. So I got this recording here for you. Would you mind if I share this with others?
Sure.
All right, cool. So I'll put it up there, and if you have any questions, let me know.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much, Joe.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.